Right now on the National Weather Desk, Ernesto takes a toll. The hurricane causes a house to collapse into the ocean and breaches Delaware's sand dunes, and the threat is not over yet. Overnight flooding. 2 people are missing after heavy rain triggered massive flooding across parts of Connecticut. Pet owner warning: the water your dog drinks outside could make them sick or worse.
I think that he had gone into shock at that point.
Bear attack. A teen comes face to face with a bear as she takes out the trash.
Startled the bear and it took a swipe at her.
And why tonight's full moon is so rare and special.
Have you heard the phrase once in a blue moon? Well, this is where it comes from.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Ernesto is still a hurricane this morning, and even though it's well offshore, the East Coast could continue to feel its effects for at least a few more days here. Ernesto's maximum sustained winds are 84 miles per hour. It will bring wind, rain, and high waves to Newfoundland and eastern Canada later today and also tomorrow. Now, swells generated by the storm will continue to affect beaches along the East Coast with life-threatening surf and also rip currents, just like it did over the weekend. Yeah, look at that right there. This dramatic video is one example of Ernesto's impact along the East Coast. It's a home along North Carolina's Outer Banks, collapsing, as you see there, and sliding into the Atlantic Ocean Friday evening. The National Park Service says this home was not occupied. It's the 7th house to collapse along the beaches of Cape Hatteras National Seashore in the past 4 years. Now, in Delaware, the sand dunes were no match for the power of the ocean. The Delaware Department of Transportation posted these images right here showing part of the coastal highway shut down. It connects the major beach communities, Upper Hobith, Dewey, and Bethany. Right now, crews are working to repair the breach to get the road fully reopened this morning. And now here's a unique view, though, of Ernesto captured by a sail drone inside of that storm. The sail drone is an unmanned surface vehicle that collects data on ocean storms. This video here was taken on Friday as Ernesto approached Bermuda as a Cat 2 hurricane. The drone measured the wind speeds at 94 miles per hour with waves of 20 to 30 feet. Sail drones have been measuring hurricanes since 2021 when it measured 120 mile per hour winds and 50-foot waves in Hurricane Sam. And 2 people are reported missing after heavy downpours triggered flooding in parts of western Connecticut on Sunday. And this right here was the scene in Oxford in the southern part of the state where more than 10 inches of rain fell yesterday. 2 people missing were reportedly swept away by flooding along the Little River and Oxford streets were turned into rivers near a restaurant. You can see it here. At least 100 people were evacuated from their homes due to these unsafe weather conditions. And here you can see firefighters right here. Look at this, helping people escape the Brookside Inn restaurant through a window and then onto the fire truck's ladder. They're walking up there. Fire crews said they rescued 19 people and a dog from the building. Fortunately, here, firefighters said only 1 person was hurt. And this was a scene at a dam along a river in western Connecticut. The heavy rain forced water over its banks, but officials said although a large amount of water was flowing over the dam, it remains structurally secure and is not in danger of failing. A viewer near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, sent our station right here this video of a flooded road. Strong thunderstorms moved through the region yesterday afternoon and into the evening. Thankfully, though, there are no reports of any injuries or even any major damage. Now, extreme weather sparked major flooding in parts of eastern Canada as well. Toronto was one of the hardest hit areas on Saturday. Heavy rain turned the street, you look at it right here, look at that rushing water, into a swift moving river, sending the water over the car's hood. Many people had to be rescued from their cars, and a apparent tornado even touched down outside the city as well. The storms knocked down trees and left a ton of damage to homes and also businesses in that area. Early this morning was the peak of the August full moon. However, this full moon is different than most because the moon appears larger and brighter than normal. Meteorologist Lexi Horvath explains what makes this rare super blue moon so unique and how long you can expect to take in these views.
Have you heard the phrase once in a blue moon? Well, this is where it comes from. This Monday, August 19th, is a rare super blue moon. Supermoons are bigger and brighter than average full moons, so this one's expected to be 10% bigger and 30% brighter than normal. While it's not going to look blue, the next one won't happen until 2037, which is where the phrase gets its nickname for being so rare. So if you miss seeing it on Monday, don't worry. The peak is on Monday, but it will continue through Wednesday.
And NASA is closely watching an asteroid called Psyche about 250 million miles from Earth. San Antonio meteorologist Joe DiCarlo shows us why researchers find this asteroid simply so fascinating.
Here at Southwest Research Institute on the city's west side, scientists behind me are providing support for NASA on a critical mission.
That mission launched late last year, and it's currently on its way to Psyche, which is about 250 million miles away between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter.
Psyche is an asteroid that scientists are fascinated to learn more about.
This is a possibly metallic asteroid that might be the core of a forming planet that was then destroyed or partially destroyed through collisions with other asteroids or other bodies in space.
NASA is sending a spacecraft to learn more about the asteroid, and it's set to arrive in 2029. In the meantime, scientists all over, including here in San Antonio, are studying Psyche, and local scientists have recently discovered something that may change everything.
We did not expect any hydration on Psyche because we think it's made of metal, and metal and water shouldn't go together. But what we did see was actually trace amounts of what looks like hydration. And so that means that Psyche is probably much more complex than we originally thought.
A warning this morning from a dog owner in Oregon. Be careful where you let your pet play. Her dog died after ingesting water that has since tested positive for toxic algae. Emily Gersh has the information all dog owners will want to hear this morning.
The Oregon Health Authority does what it can to keep waterways safe for people and animals. There's currently several advisories for cyanobacteria across the state, also known as blue-green algae. It forms when the water heats up, especially during late summer. Here's what to look out for.
This would include staying out of water that's foamy or scummy or has pea green or blue-green mats or bright green globs that can be seen in the water column.
On August 4th, Tanya Bachman took her 2 border collies to Sand Island near St. Helens to let them play in the water. Bachman says one of them ingested a lot of warm water from a shallow area and within minutes got incredibly sick and unfortunately died.
And he turned and he looked at me. His eyes were completely, they had dilated. I think that he had gone into shock at that point.
While she waits for test results to show whether the water contained cyanobacteria, Bachman doesn't want her dog's death to be in vain.
You can make an educated decision about what you're going to do with your animal in the summertime for fun.
Yeah.
I wish I would have made a different decision myself.
Well, it's happened before and it's happening again. A saltwater wedge is creeping up the Mississippi River, which could threaten the water supply in the New Orleans area if it just keeps on moving. Jacob Bradford reports.
Currently, the saltwater wedge is around Boothville in Lower Plaquemines Parish. There are no advisories at this time, but the Army Corps of Engineers is checking on the wedge several times a week.
We're at a point right now where we're monitoring. Once the river drops below a flow rate of 400,000 cubic feet per second, that's when we go out and start monitoring and checking the tow locations.
The Army Corps says it's difficult to find out how fast the salt water is moving upriver. Since it's denser than fresh water, the salt water will go through and fill up deeper pockets of the Mississippi River and then move up.
Matt Rowe with the Army Corps of Engineers in New Orleans says this is normal this time of year since it is the drier season in the Mississippi River basin. But he hopes rain will come soon to push that salt water back to the Gulf so we don't have a situation like last year where people were stockpiling on bottled water. For many in Plaquemines Parish, it's something else they need to keep on their radar.
We'll just buy a bunch of water and kind of see how it goes.
And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll head to Wisconsin to see why they are already preparing for the winter season. And we'll find out why one California town often has some of the worst air quality in the country.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn with a look at the Northeast as we head through your Monday. We are going to be tracking showers and even some thunderstorms out there throughout much of the afternoon and evening. And that line is associated with a cold front that is going to work off towards the east. And then for the day on Tuesday as well, a little more sunshine off to the west. But we will see some scattered showers at times. And the high temperatures for the daytime today going to top out in the 70s north, low 80s to the south.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. Nashville, 85 degrees, 90 in Birmingham, a little hotter in Mobile at 97 degrees, 92 in Charleston, down in Tampa, a hot one, as well as West Palm in the mid-90s. Looking at plenty of sunshine across the southeast. There could be a few little pop-ups across the mountain regions of Virginia and looking up towards Kentucky and eastern Tennessee. There's a few showers up around Raleigh along the I-95 corridor, but it looks like for most of the areas, we're looking at plenty of sunshine across the southeast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A severe thunderstorm sent people running for cover in northern Alabama Saturday afternoon, and an inflatable slide took flight tossed by the wind. Also on Saturday, in Tennessee, this tree smoldered and burned deep into its roots after a lightning strike. Fire crews had to respond several times to put it out. The tree eventually collapsed on Sunday.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
A teen girl in Washington state is recovering after she was attacked by a bear. It didn't happen in the woods or even during a hike, but while she was doing her job. Lynn Wynn has more.
It was just after 9:30 when a 17-year-old employee at the Coal Chute Cafe and Pub was taking the trash out to the dumpster. We spoke with the victim's father, who wanted to remain anonymous.
They didn't see each other and startled the bear, and it took a swipe at her. We're just really lucky that it wasn't any worse.
The teen was left with some scratches and torn clothing, but is doing okay. Local police, along with the Sheriff's Department and officers with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, were able to quickly find the adult male bear nearby.
They took a shot and were able to stay with it until it went down, which wasn't very long.
Fish and Wildlife officials say they had to kill the bear because it was clear from evidence at the scene. The bear had gotten used to being fed by human sources like trash cans and dumpsters.
Unfortunately, once a bear knows about a non-natural food source, they keep coming back for more, and they will potentially lose their fear of humans.
Just a few weeks prior, on July 17th, Fish and Wildlife officials say there was another incident in town where a homeowner was forced to kill a black bear as it got to their dog. Residents we talked to are urging those who live and visit the area and Waste Management to take the issue seriously and be more diligent about collecting trash and getting bear-proof waste bins.
A California man is keeping his spirits up. He's helping to fight the park fire as a bulldozer operator. It's 51% contained, but it's also claimed his home as well. Christina Mendez has the story.
After losing everything, Don Andrews is still working, doing his best to try to help his community.
It never touched home until it happens to you. And then, now that it's happened to us, I understand that stare, I understand that how people get when they walk away with nothing. They lucky enough to leave with their lives.
On July 26, while working on a fire in Etna, Don's home in Cohasset was engulfed by the flames of the park fire. His wife, Debbie Andrews, was able to escape with their 3 dogs, but not much else.
Well, it was our retirement house, and we had pretty much paid for every nail and every board in it, cash, and had planned on being there a while.
Don is no stranger to persevering through a tragic event. The day he lost his house was also the anniversary of an incident that left him in the hospital.
One of the dozers that was burnt over in the car fire and ended up spending some time in the hospital and had some physical problems from it.
But Don expressed his gratitude for his job for keeping him busy.
You're hoping that you could save somebody else's house or business or animals or anything, that it's distracting enough so you don't focus on yourself, because there's always bigger things out there.
Smoke from western wildfires is causing air quality concerns from coast to coast, but one section of California often has some of the worst air quality in the country. Meteorologist Chris Kuiper explains why.
I thought we'd talk a little about our air quality, which is usually in the San Joaquin Valley, some of the worst in the nation. Why is that? It's not like we make more bad air than everybody else in the nation does. There are a variety of different reasons for our bad air quality. Number one is that we've got a steady onshore wind in the summertime months. That's the only way that wind can get on inland is through the Carquinez Straits, through the Bay Area here, basically. So bringing any kind of bad air from the Bay Area on into the San Joaquin Valley, bringing some of Sacramento's bad air on into the valley as well. Once it gets down here, where does it go? Because we're surrounded by mountains. And so it takes a little extra effort to lift that air on out of the valley and away from us and clean the air quality out. So we're surrounded by mountains. Getting it out over the mountains, that's a problem as well. Because in the summertime months, we've got high pressure above. That pushes all the air back down on into the valley, trapping it all like a big stew in the valley, and leading to some very bad air, usually in the San Joaquin Valley in the summertime months.
How your garden grew this year depends on where you live. Meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael loves his tomatoes, but the weather in central Ohio did not do him or his plants any favors. He explains why he's not seeing a bumper crop.
Well, if you're like me, gardening's been a little frustrating this year. The tomatoes this year are doing, well, really poor compared to what they were last year. Take a look at last year. These plants were huge, reaching over 8 feet high by this time of the year. This year, though, we've got a lot of green tomatoes, and the plants are way smaller. And there's likely 2 reasons for this. First of all, it was very wet in the spring, so the roots didn't try to search out to get more moisture. And then it's been dry for the last 2 months. I've been trying to water the tomatoes, but they're not quite coming along as much as what I would hope. The second reason, this is probably a big reason, it's called a heat stall. Plants need to cool down at night, otherwise they stall out, whether it's ripening the fruit or growing. And boy, what a change last year versus this year. Last year, we had 7 days where we did not drop below 70 degrees. This year, 14. Also last year, the high temperatures, we only had 9 days above 90 degrees, but this year, 23 days. Hopefully with cooler weather, we'll get some of these green tomatoes to start turning red, so that way I can start making some salsa. Anyways, did a little digging, figured I would share what I found.
And when it comes to snow, we count on snowplows to clear the roads as soon as possible. In Wisconsin, they're getting ready for the winter already. Plow drivers from across the state were out and about practicing their moves long before the first flakes actually fly. Kel Larson has more.
So we've been training. We're looking to take out that top 10 spot at least.
City of Milwaukee employee Ernest Stubbs has been coming to Fox Valley Tech for 3 years for the Snowplow Rodeo. He's upping the ante at this year's event, which has become a tradition for the Milwaukee man.
Well, I love equipment. When I was a kid, I used to always play with Tonkas and things like that. I love driving trucks. I'm real competitive. It's a bunch of great guys in the state of Wisconsin that do this every single day, that know how important it is, and they know it's a big skill.
Thursday, Ernest was one of 125 city, county, and municipality employees who competed in the event. Eric Dundee with the American Public Works Association says the event is held now for one very specific reason.
Your idea is to learn now in the fun and not worry about doing this when it's snow and ice and you got to get out there and actually respond to emergencies.
Dundee says it's crucial for the employees to get comfortable with the vehicles when it's low stakes.
They're going to be out here driving the plow trucks, and that's kind of a day-to-day activity for them, but it's all about learning the equipment and how to do their job better.
For Stubbs, while he enjoys the work, it's the men he sees who make the event whole.
Oh, we look forward to running into one another, telling stories of last year. A lot of us, like I said, we're real competitive, and we talk about last year's scores versus this year's scores.
And as we go to break, we fly over Las Vegas, but off the Strip.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. We have some fog across part of the Midwest this morning, but as we continue into the afternoon, temperatures staying pretty comfortable. A lot of 80s and 70s across the map. No 90s on the map. Wichita gets pretty close today, 88. And we got a few showers and storms starting to move into the plains for the day tomorrow. And as we continue on into your Wednesday, just a few pockets of rain. Most of us dealing with a lot of sunshine for Wednesday as temperatures are going to start warming up.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at our forecast across the region. It is the heat advisories and excessive heat warnings for much of the region for your day today and likely the next several days as well. So we're starting off near 80 in most locations. We'll be over 100, especially across Texas for your day today. We do have an isolated marginal risk of severe weather around Louisiana for a pop-up strong to severe storm, but it's more about the heat in the days ahead.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. We've got temperatures really cooking across the four corners in the Southwest into triple-digit heat, but it's pretty normal. When you get up to the Pacific Northwest, temperatures mainly in the 70s, 80s, and in the low 90s east of the Cascades towards the Rockies. High pressure in control, but monsoonal moisture firing up again for the Southwest as we have showers and thunderstorms through the day. That's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Over the past 2 years, we've shown you video of dust devils often forming in the Southwest. Meteorologist Lindsay Storrs took to Instagram to explain how they form.
On a hot sunny day, you might see one of these. Dust devils are short-lived whirlwinds that can pick up dirt, dust, leaves, and other small debris. So how do these things form? Well, when the intense summertime sun heats the ground, it heats the air next to the ground. Warm air is less dense than cooler air, so it starts to rise. As that air rises, the air pressure becomes lower in that spot, which basically creates a vacuum type situation where air rushes in to fill the lower pressure. This rushing air increases circulation, and once it's strong enough, it can start to pick up dirt and small debris. Even though a dust devil might look a little bit like a tornado, it is not a tornado. A dust devil will have clear air above it, whereas a tornado will be attached to a thunderstorm. Dust devils are also a lot weaker than tornadoes, and they don't tend to cause a whole lot of damage.
And for more great content, be sure to check us out on social media. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Monday, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.